It's time to rewind and learn from the past, as from this point onwards we're in Vanguard's prelude. It's time to break down Infinideity Cradle.
Stand up! Vanguard!
Infinideity Cradle is a very unique set. It's the first booster set of the new series, but not only that, the main clans of this series are very unconventional for Vanguard. Infinideity Cradle is the next major booster set in the series, making its set code V-BT07. This set has support for Genesis, Angel Feathers, Nubatama and Nova Grappler. This set contains 80 cards, from which 67 are new cards and 13 reprints. The card rarities are divided into 4 VRs, 8 triple Rs, 12 double Rs, 18 rares and 38 commons. In terms of a card split, there is a more emphasis on Genesis cards and less on Angel Feather cards, making the split looks as follows, with Genesis having 20 cards, Angel Feathers with 14 cards, Nubatama with 23 and Nova Grappler with 24 cards. However, keep in mind there is a Genesis trial deck that is released coincide with this set, bumping the number up to a whopping 36 cards for Genesis. As for the special parallels, this set has 4 new types of SVRs and 8 SPs, but also this set introduces 2 new types of rarities. 2 super special rares and 4 imagined gift rares. The 2 super special rares are the Valkyrian and the Astral Plane cards for Genesis, and they are always together in one single pack. As for the imagined gift rares, they are the new high rarity gift markers that are also used in the show. In this set we also get a new box topper promo pack that includes 2 out of the 24 promos, 1 for each clan, and there's even a chance that one of the promos have a triple R foil. This set provides a massive change in playstyle for all the clans in this set. Genesis focuses all about the new Astral Plane mechanic, Angel Feather goes for an aggressive playstyle that interacts with the opponent's units and damage zone, Nubatama has a new token mechanic incorporated in their playstyle, and Nova Grappler goes balls to the walls with front triggers. On the cover for this set we see the new VR for Genesis. This is quite a mouthful for quite a mediocre ability. Quaking Heavenly Dragon Asteroids Dragon is one of the 2 units that grants access to the realms of the gods. He, together with Gleaming Lord Uranus, can channel the power of the gods to open a gate to the astral plane. There they can summon an astral deity, giant deity of distant world Valkyrian. To access this immense power, they need to elevate themselves to a godly stature, and they can do this by tapping into the power of the imaginary gift markers. Their entire support consists out of units that can create these markers outside the normal rules of Vanguard. Together with its power, they can overturn any mortal who dares to stand before the powers of a god. The new Genesis support consists out of 20 cards, 1 VR, 2 triple Rs, 4 double Rs, 5 rares and 7 common, which includes 1 reprint. However, keep in mind they also have the trial deck, which contains another 16 cards, which has 6 reprints in it, 4 triggers and 2 different PGs. This set provides us with a new 10k grade 2 vanilla and a new starter, but also their first crit and grade 1 drop PG. This set supports heavily on the new Astral Plane mechanic, where your rear guards can create force markers, as you need 5 markers underneath your Vanguard to create the Astral Plane. But besides that, we also get some generic support that includes more soul charging, soul reducers and just generic searchers. Sadly, there isn't any direct support for Artemis, but maybe we get some in the next set. The problem with this set, and Genesis in particular, is that there aren't crazy plays or interactions. Cards just do what the text states them to do, so there isn't hardly any way to abuse or misuse them, especially with the units that generate markers. However, there is one unit from the trial deck that's quite interesting, and that is Diana of Moonlight. This grade 1 in the normal deck she belongs gives a nice on hit that can generate markers, which helps the deck quite a lot. But late game she can refund the cost quite a bit, making it do that for only a Soul Blast. However, you can have the on hit pressure even in a non-astral deck, making this card quite versatile if you want to use it in other decks. And there is one deck in particular that can use this ability and can abuse it quite effectively, and that is Artemis. If you can combine this with Twilight Artemis, you can create a column that on hit can get a gauge, which gives it a passive increase to 10k power, and you can generate a force marker for your Vanguard. The problem is this column will most likely be blocked, but you can spread these units so no matter the outcome, you're going to get an extra power on the board, or your opponent just wastes a lot of shield in blocking all the attacks. This gives the deck some necessary pressure they otherwise couldn't get, and if your opponent's hand isn't allowing them to guard well, you can just steamroll from here. Genesis with their godly aesthetics need to look good, and they can do that with their plenty of special rare cards, as in this set they get 1 SVR, 2 SPs, but also both super special rares, and if we include the trial deck, they have the secret rare Uranus. First time in history does Genesis have a mechanic they didn't steal from other clans. This time they stole it from another anime. Is this going to make a difference? Only time can tell. But for now, let's take a look at the next clan. Cosmo Heater Ergodil ushers in a new age for Angel Feathers. They go from a defensive stall deck towards a more aggressive deck with control options. She allows you to move any 2 units on the board into the damage zone and even from your opponent's side of the field. This gives Angels a new type of control which we haven't seen before, at least at this scope. Together with the aggressive cards that surround her, the new Angels can really bring the pain hammer from turn 1. So don't underestimate their offensive potential, as their Feather Palace days are behind them. The Angel Feather support consists out of 14 cards, 1 VR, 2 triple Rs, 2 double Rs, 2 new rares, plus a rare reprint, and 6 commons, which include 1 reprint. This support has 2 reprints, from which one is the very first non-common special reprint. They got no new vanilla card, but they did get their third crit and grade 1 drop RPG. This support is mainly focused on the new aggressive playstyle, which means it's hard to upgrade the previous deck. But there are cards that can be used in the old, more defensive deck, which gives the deck a more powerful punch than just the low 17 to 22k columns it used to make. Just like Genesis, this Angel Feather support lacks a hidden gem because it's the first support wave of the new playstyle. It's hard to find something that interacts well with the other older cards, especially with such a small card pool. But with this set, I want to highlight the triple R grade 1 to really emphasize on her potential. Helpful Intended is a nice Vanguard unit because when rode upon, you can move her to the damage zone and then call her from the damage zone. This gives you a free call out of nowhere, which is pretty nice. Also, you're always guaranteed to get a useful unit. However, if you were rushed, then your options will open up significantly, making your grade 2 turn all the more devastating. This card also interacts quite well with both old and new triple R grade 2. If you ride up to Freezing Renter, you get to manipulate both players' damage zone, meaning all abilities will be able to activate, so you can achieve powerful high numbers and get some nice pluses while doing so. If you combine it with Rear Impetus Celestial Almighty, then you can recall quite a nice field without doing anything. Also, this increases the usefulness of Almighty because even if a trigger is the only thing in the damage zone, by calling it to the column with Intended, you can still build a solid column. And next turn, you can send the trigger back to the damage zone with Ergodil, making room for far better and stronger cards. Also, important thing about Intended is the raw value behind the continuous ability. This increase is pretty solid, especially in the early game. She, together with a 9k grade 2, makes a 70k column. But if you damage your opponent, this column jumps to 22k, meaning it still beats over a defensive trigger even if they sit on a defensive 12k beater grade 2. The ability to beat over defense triggers, especially in the early game, shouldn't be underestimated, and most certainly not in an aggressive deck. Angel Feathers, being from heavens, tend to cast a shine of holy light. However, in our case, that has more to do with their parallel cards, as they got 1 SVR and 2 SPs. Now we go from heavenly beings to the most evil of creatures. Evil Stealth Dragon Akatsuki Hanzo is the new boss unit for Nubatama and brings a whole new meaning to being a ninja dragon. No more cheap techniques, as he with his evil minions have finally mastered the art of substitution jutsu. Not only can they make new tokens, they can also manipulate these tokens to perform a whole range of powerful and nasty abilities. But Akatsuki Hanzo's favorite and most powerful ability is the ability to change and reshape the battlefield as he pleases. He can make his enemy disappear and even change his formation on any moment's notice. The new Nubatama support consists out of 23 cards, 1 VR, 2 triple Rs, 3 double Rs, 5 rares and 12 commons. This includes 4 reprints, from which 3 are basic triggers. This includes their third crit trigger and the drop RPG to open up deck building, and a palette swap for a grade 1 50k shield vanilla and another generic starter. This support focuses heavily on the new evil decoy token mechanic. However, the abilities are phrased in such a way that they can be used without tokens. with less consistency that is. But we did get some generic support that can be tagged in any deck, and one such unit is Delphine Goinohi. This card allows you to multi-tag without having Magatsu Storm as a Vanguard. The glaring weakness of this card is of course the fact that both attacks are quite weak, 9k and 19k. This means the first attack needs to be boosted, and if they get a defense trigger, then the second attack also needs to be boosted. However, thanks to the many units within Nubatama that can make themselves disappear, you can multi-attack with at least 4 attacks in a turn without minusing yourself excessively. You call 2 full columns, attack with the front row of the other column. Many of these disappearing units can empower themselves to a high enough number so they can beat over a grade 3 Vanguard. Then attack with the Goinohi column and proceed to use the ability, recall her in the front row of the still standing booster, and then you have a solid 27k or higher final attack. But if we combine this with Magatsu Storm, you can increase the number of attacks even more, as you can use this after you recall a field, and as soon as Goinohi gets an extra 5k, means she can hit on her own. And this isn't the only thing you can do, as there are many other cards that can help you increase the number of attacks or empower the field even more. Just like the other clans, Nubatama gets 1 SVR and 2 SPs in their parallel slots, giving you the option to upgrade your evil decoy token deck with some nice looking cards. Now it's time to look at the last clan in this set. Fighting Fist Dragon Godhead Dragon is a card that defies the odds. The card embodies balls to the walls aggressive playstyle without any regard for safety. This is also seen in the direct support cards that might seep this behavior into other sections of Nova Grappler. That accompanied with the other units that get empowered by front triggers, and we've seen a hyper aggressive deck that relies on the RNG of triggers. You either are victorious or die trying. Nova Grappler's latest support consists of 24 cards, 1 VR, 2 triple Rs, 3 double Rs, 5 rares and 13 commons, from which 6 were reprints, including 4 vanilla triggers. This set has a palette swap for yet another 9k grade 1 and a generic starter. In this set we can see support for heroes, some generic support which include a new subset of trooper cards, but the main bulk all goes towards the new Godhead Dragon deck that revolves around front triggers. And it's within this group of cards where we find an amazing card, Crit Bangle. This 7k unit changed the name of the game for Nova Grappler. This card is essential for the Godhead Dragon deck because without this card the deck would not function. But let me tell you, by minusing a card from hand, you get to give all your units in the front row 10k power. In a clan as Nova Grappler, that's huge. If you combine this with all the multi-attacking that's happening in Beast Deity, you can see the true value of this card. Now you know you're going to hit the front trigger, so you can attack with the Vanguard as soon as possible, powering up all your units, nullifying a potential defensive trigger, which can be really annoying for Nova Grappler. But it doesn't stop there. You can combine multiple bangles to completely change your drive check into front triggers. This card also allows Nova Grappler's budget decks to operate on a different level, thanks to the fact that it's a common. So even though its skill looks situational and negative, the outcomes are insane in the right scenarios. Nova Grappler also got some new blink cards, just like the other clans, 1 SVR and 2 SPs. Show that you too can channel the power of the front triggers with this new set of cards. And now we're at the most awaited part of the video where I announce which deck spotlights will be featured on the channel. And of course we have 4 clans, 4 VR, so we're gonna include 4 new spotlights on the channel. We start off with the Genesis one, that is Quaking Heavily Dragon Asteroids Dragon. Then we immediately follow up with the one for Angel Feathers, this Cosmo Healer Ergo Deal. And once we're done with those two, we enter Dragonic Empire as we're gonna cover Nubatama's Evil Stealth Dragon Akatsuki Hanzo build. And we wrap the entire spot list of 4 Infinideity Cradle with the latest Nova Grappler deck that is Fighting Fist Dragon Godhead Dragon. And with that, we conclude this set breakdown for Infinideity. Join us next week when we dive even deeper in this set with all the detail work around the set reviews, as well as the spotlights and the budget decks that you can build for Infinideity Cradle. As always, this video has been brought to you by our lovely patrons over at patreon.com/Vanguard Insider. If you do want to support the channel and everything that's happening on the channel, then you can simply do it by heading over to patreon.com/Vanguard Insider and become a Patreon today. But with that said, I'm Mr. Time Leap, and I see you guys in the next one!